Welcome to Red-tastic. Story 1. Am I the a-hole for not wanting my sister to come to Disney World? Background. Sister 38 is going through divorce for the past year. Has 2 children, 6 and 8, who both have behavioral issues. Every family holiday has at least one episode of major meltdowns in which we are all expected to help with. I have been to her house many times to help calm situations down, even leaving my own sick or crying children to help. Now, we have saved for years to take a trip to Disney World, just getting to the point when we are thinking of booking for 2 years, when my boys will be 4 and 6. Talking about it with family when my sister says, things assuming her and the kids will be coming too. I have made subtle points stating it will just be me, my husband, and kids. My mom and sister think I'm being awful as she will not be able to take the kids on her own and would need the help. Am I the a-hole wanting an expensive family holiday where I can just focus on my own children? Edit. My nephew has mild autism, so can be stressful in public. My niece just has anger issues. Our last holiday, she had a meltdown because she lost her goggles in the swimming pool, throwing herself on the floor, screaming, bashing the floor. My husband had to leave me with our kids while he calmed her down. She responds very well to my husband as he is so calm. Sister was dealing with my nephew who couldn't cope with his siblings' meltdown. Update. I took everyone's advice, made it clear to my mom that we will be going on our own. She has still called me selfish and that my sister won't forgive me. Standing my ground, I just hope they can eventually get over it. Thanks all. You're not the a-hole OP. You and your husband saved up money to go to Disney. It's a trip for your family. It's perfectly fine if you don't want your sister and her kids there with you because you know how her kids can be. If one of them has a meltdown on the trip, you and your husband will definitely give your sister a hand, and this could potentially ruin the trip for you and your kids. I'm really glad you're standing your ground on this. You're not selfish for wanting to enjoy a really expensive trip with your husband and kids. Your sister can go on her own too when she wants. Now for some comments. If her son has autism, there may be resources she can take advantage of, such as stage programs or autism organizations. If her autistic son is beyond her capabilities to handle, she needs to get some help from people whose job it is to help with autism, not freeload off relatives. Not only is it not your job, but she needs help that is actually qualified. Also, it's highly likely that her son will have an absolutely miserable experience at Disney World anyway because of his autism. ETA, when looking for help with autism, avoid Autism Speaks and ABA. Not the a-hole. About time you established some boundaries. You, your spouse, and your children are a unit. You get to take care of them first and foremost. Then you can spread out those resources to those closest to you. Your sister has made choices in her life and is an adult who can continue to make choices and live with the outcomes. She could buy a lotto ticket tomorrow, win $25,000, hire a nanny, and take herself and her 2 kids to Disney World without being an a-hole for not sharing with you. So the reverse is the same. Disney can be extremely overwhelming for any child, but can be especially so to one with autism. There are tons of lines to wait on, and really no instant gratification there. Lots of crowds, noise, and heat. You are not a cow. Our first family trip to Disney with my daughter was only supposed to be me, my husband, my 18-month-old, and my parents. My sister got sick, and since we were all going, no one could look after her 3-year-old twins. So they came. They behaved fine for the trip, but to this day my husband resents it and says his first trip that should have been just for his daughter was ruined. And she is now 22. You may want to cave, but your husband may resent it. Story 2. Am I the a-hole for not moving out? Me, 39 male, and my wife, 37 female, have been married for 15 years and we have 2 kids, a teen boy and a toddler girl. Our marriage started to fail about 4 years ago, and we decided to have another baby in hopes it would fix things. Our daughter's birth helped things for a while, but things fell apart. A few months ago, she decided she wants a divorce. I have never cheated. I've never been physical with her or the kids. We are both two adults who were trying our best, but realized it wasn't working. I came home from work one evening to find her and our toddler packed and waiting. She said they were going to stay with her sister and brother-in-law for the weekend. Over the weekend, I was to move out all my stuff, everything. That's how she said it. While I'm gone, I expect you to use the time to find yourself somewhere acceptable to live and to be gone. She said she was sending my ex-brother-in-law over to help me move. Our son was already at his aunt and uncle's, having been picked up after school by ex-sister-in-law. My wife took our daughter and left. At first, in the hours after she left, I looked into apartments, rentals, what I could do for myself and my kiddos. Then I started thinking, why should I be the one to leave? My name is on the deed to the house, just like my wife's. We both own the home. It is our house legally, the both of us, named on the documents. Coupled with the fact that I've been suggesting therapy, church, workshops to mend our marriage, making a conscious effort to make things right, why should I be the one to leave? I don't want to make my wife sound bad because she's truly a lovely, hard-working woman, and I still care for her. But she stopped trying a long time ago. When my brother-in-law showed up the next day, I sent him away, told him I'm not moving out. No one could make me leave. It's my house just as much as hers. If she wants to move out, then that's fine. She can find a new home and I will take care of our children in the home, and she can share custody with me. But I wasn't going to flip my whole life upside down. I had no warning she was planning this and I was not leaving. My wife spent the weekend blowing up my phone, calling me every unfair, unkind, untrue name and accusation. She came home that Monday and moved into one of the spare bedrooms. Me in the master, parenting the kids, but otherwise we're separated. She's even seeing someone now, but I'm certain she wasn't cheating. She's been trying to alienate our friends against me and has enlisted them in trying to get me to leave. I've remained firm. Despite it all, we've not let our children see the worst of it. Although our 14-year-old son knows we're divorcing. Am I the a-hole for refusing to move out, despite the fact that my wife wants me to? You're not the a-hole, OP. Your wife is sounding like a big a-hole though. If you've been trying and suggesting ways to make the marriage work and she just wasn't having it, then that means you're right. She did give up on the marriage. So she decided that she was done, then she decided she wanted you to leave, and she decided she wants to keep the house and the kids. That is so unfair to you. Unless you were really horrible or cheated, you get a say too. And you don't have to yield to any of her unreasonable demands. I would advise that you get a lawyer and figure out a way to move forward with this. Sorry this is happening, OP. Now for some comments. Not the a-hole. And in some states, moving out could put you at a legal disadvantage in the divorce. It would be viewed as abandoning the marital home. I would definitely speak to an attorney. I definitely think she's the a-hole for basically telling you to get gone over a single weekend. If my husband cheated, then yes, of course I would expect him to get the F out. But if things just ended and it was no one's fault, I would never presume to think I get to stay and he has to leave. There would obviously be a discussion. Not the a-hole. Just based on what you wrote here, assuming this is just a relationship fizzling out, it seems that she made a unilateral decision about what was to happen with your living situation going forward. And it isn't realistic to have you or anyone move out over the span of a weekend. It would have been better for both of you if you had a conversation about how she wanted the relationship to end and what to do with the logistics of each of your living situations first. Not the a-hole, but your wife is for sure. Do not move out and get a lawyer like yesterday. Do not agree to give the house to the person that is awarded the most custody. That's ridiculous. That house needs to be sold and profits split. or else she can buy you out if she wants it. That all needs to be done during the divorce and not before. Many states are leaning towards a more 50-50 custody situation for parents, so it's likely that neither of you will end up with more physical custody. Story 3. Am I the a-hole for blurting out an "I told you so" at my sister-in-law when her poor life choices caught up with her? A few months ago, my sister-in-law Becca was looking for a place to live so she could move out of her parents' house. She's 23 and just started working a better paying job so she could afford to live with a boyfriend in an apartment. Where we live, a decent one-bedroom apartment for them would cost between $800 to $1,000 a month in rent. My wife and I helped them budget and figured they could afford that much, but not much else. Not because they don't make enough money, but because she and her boyfriend refuse to stop eating fast food at least once a day and go out drinking, spending hundreds each weekend at bars. Their choice to do this, of course, but even with these problems, they could afford a nice one-bedroom. Well, after we find a couple of places for them to look, my wife and I go on our merry way thinking we had helped, only to find out a few weeks later that Becca and boyfriend got themselves an apartment on the other, much nicer side of town that was going to cost $1,400 a month. Her parents, my wife, and I were all completely blindsided as they wanted to keep it a surprise. They still had a chance to back out, and I told them they should really consider doing so, as they could not afford the extra several hundred a month it would cost them. They told me they would be fine because boyfriend was a shoo-in for a promotion at work in a few months. Well, today, her family got together for dinner, and Becca was complaining that boyfriend didn't get the promotion because he had missed too much work lately. He took points so he could stay home and play World of Warcraft for 12 hours a day. So they weren't getting that boost to monthly income they had expected, and were close to wiping out her savings because they were operating each month at a deficit. At this point, her father and my wife started asking her if she had made lifestyle changes like less bar hopping and fast food in order to help, and she started to lie and say yes, but then broke down in tears and admitted she had gone out for food twice that day already. At this point, purely out of reflex, I blurted out "I effing told you so goddamn," before I could even stop myself. My wife instantly kicked me under the table and apologized before excusing myself. From what I can tell, her father and brother agree with me and think what I said was appropriate, but her mother, Becca, my wife, and Becca's boyfriend are all furious with me for kicking her while she's down. I tried explaining it was a reflex and pointed out I instantly apologized, but I'm the town a-hole at the moment and wanted to see if you guys agreed or not with them. Now for some comments. You're the a-hole. Even though what you said was 100% true, it's kicking someone when they are down. I understand that you told them so, and I know how frustrating it can be. But the important thing is, it seems sister-in-law had learned that before you said anything. She admitted she had an issue and was crying, and then you said, "I told you so." She knew. Something more productive would have been to let her cry it out and then ask how she was planning on stopping it. You're the a-hole, but you were right, and it probably needed to be said. Sometimes an a-hole is needed. I did stupid stuff like that when I was young too, and I got my ass chewed for it. At the moment I was resentful, but they were right, and I needed that ass chewing. I was living above my means, going into debt, having fun, and making immature decisions till I ended up getting evicted from my first apartment. My ass chewing wasn't an "I told you so," but a "you are too smart to be this stupid." I'm torn between everyone sucks here and no a-holes here. "I told you so," while true, tends to be a bit harsh. However, it sounds like budgeting needs and considerations were explained to them. The fact that the boyfriend got passed over for the promotion is life lesson number 1. Don't spend the wage you aren't earning yet. Life lesson number 2 is that there are consequences to acting like blowing off work to play games. and overspending on stuff you can't afford. They consider you kicking her while she's down. If this is a kick while she's down, life is going to curb stomp her if she doesn't figure out the basics of finance.